The man smashed the bottle angrily on the ground, then looked at his wife of 5 years who had told him to get lost. He suddenly felt like a fool for those 5 years. Before the man could leave, his wife began hurling insults at him, saying he would never amount to anything in this life. The next day, the man submitted a resignation letter to his wife's hospital as a top-tier heart specialist. Before leaving, he predicted the heart surgery scheduled for that day would fail. At first, his wife dismissed his words as arrogance, until his wife's first love took over the surgery. After the operation ended, the patient's vital signs suddenly plummeted. At this moment, the arrogant first love was completely incapable of handling the situation. The son of the richest man grabbed the first love, demanding his life in return. The proud wife, now panicked like a headless chicken, with no other choice, she chased after her husband to beg him to come back and help. Little did she know, a long line of top hospital directors had already formed outside the hospital waiting for the man. It turned out that as the hospital's only pillar of support, when other doctors were helpless, he would work for over 30 hours straight and still personally lead surgeries. In the end, he would be so exhausted he could barely stand. After completing the surgery, he didn't rest. Instead, he relied on glucose to keep going, researching surgical plans for other patients. A subordinate had even reminded him that day was his wedding anniversary. Only then did the man realize he hadn't seen his wife, the hospital director, for over 2 months. At that moment, the subordinate noticed a post in her social media feed. His wife had bought a luxury car and a mansion for another man. At first, the man thought it must be some kind of misunderstanding, and figured he'd find a chance to hear her explanation. But then his wife came storming into the hospital. Without a word, she began scolding him, accusing him of slacking off at work to trade stocks. Who would have thought the hospital director would mistake an ECG for a stock chart? Then, she pointed at the glucose bottles on his desk, saying he was shameless enough to steal the hospital's glucose to drink. Although the man explained he had worked over 30 hours straight without time to eat, the woman refused to let it go, saying it was his job, that for his $30 a month salary he should dedicate himself fully to the hospital. As for her duties as the director, they included hiring better doctors. At that moment, the man realized her so-called recruitment of doctors was just buying luxury cars and houses for her first love, and having dinner with him. Upon hearing this, the wife grew even angrier, claiming it was part of the first love's onboarding benefits. After all, her first love was a highly educated graduate from abroad, nothing like a rural doctor like him. Finally, the wife threw $200 at him and told him to use it to check his mental health instead of slacking off at work. Then she began grooming herself, getting ready for a date with her first love. Deeply hurt, the man just wanted to drown his sorrows in alcohol, but as he staggered down the street, he ran into his wife returning from her date. Without hesitation, she accused the man of stalking her. The first love even taunted him, saying the luxury car was a gift from the wife, and that despite all his years of hard work, the man had nothing to show for it. The man felt utterly crushed. He had worked tirelessly for the hospital, only to end up like this. At that moment, he saw everything clearly. He immediately called to resign from the hospital, but his wife showed no intention of stopping him. She even entrusted the critical surgery to her first love. However, this decision led to a tragic outcome.